The time being 6:30 p.m, I declare the Ordinary Council meeting of July 23, 2024 open. Persons in the gallery are advised that under the Local Government Act 1993, a person may not take report of the proceeding of a meeting of a council or committee without the authority of the council or committee. Tape record includes a video camera and an electronic device capable of recording speech. Mobile phones must be turned off so as to not disrupt the meeting. Anyone, including councillors, found using a mobile phone will be told to leave the meeting immediately and for the duration of the said meeting. An audio recording of this meeting will be taken for minute-taking purposes as authorised by the Local Government Act 1993. This meeting is live streamed on Council's website to allow the community to follow Council debates and decisions without the need to attend meetings in person. Members of the public attending or speaking at a meeting agree to have their image, voice and personal information, including name and address, recorded and publicly broadcast. Strathfield Council does not accept liability for any defamatory remarks or inappropriate comments that are made during the course of a meeting. Any part of the meeting that is held in closed session will not be streamed. Councillors and members of the gallery, please note that the microphone for streaming purposes is sensitive and will record all sounds in the room. The mayoral diary and expenses claimed by all councillors for the last month since the last council meeting has been tabled for your information as per resolution. Councillors, in accordance with the mandatory provisions of the Model Code of Conduct, I remind councillors of the obligations to which you swore by taking the oath of affirmation in that you will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of your ability and judgment. So if we could just stand for a moment of reflection. We pray that our deliberations today will be objective and decisions are impartial and made for the benefit of the whole community. In recognition of our traditional owners, let us begin by acknowledging the Wongal people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. We pay respect to their elders, past, present and emerging. So, do we have any apologies, councillors? Mr. Mammoth?
No.
No? Okay. So disclosures of interest. Anyone have any disclosures of interest too?
No.
All clear?
Yes.
All clear? All clear. Wow, this is good.
Lucky mayor.
Look, it's only 25 to 7. Acknowledgements. So I have two. You have one?
You go first.
Okay. I have two acknowledgements. The first acknowledgement I'd like to make is to congratulate our Communications Department and our Open Space team for the wonderful work they did at the Winter Warmer event last Saturday. It was an absolutely brilliant event. It was, I think, did we get a number of how many people?
Not yet.
We still haven't got a number, but it was just so crowded you could hardly move down Strathfield Square. And I think the addition of the market stalls were really a thing that people really enjoyed. So thank you to our comms team and our open space team. They worked very hard from 7 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. And that's really a dedication from them. I'd also like to make a special acknowledgement to the Consul General of Japan in Sydney, who is leaving us in mid-August, Tokuda Suishi. He's been posted to Russia and he'll be leaving us in August. We've totally enjoyed Tokuda's company when he's invited us to his residence, and we wish him and his wife a very happy and fruitful future, and he will always be very special in Strathfield, and he's always welcome back anytime, and his new replacement will be in October. So we look forward to working with the new Consulate General of Japan. Councillor Dada.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have two acknowledgements to make, but I will make it in one. I would like to acknowledge the Chariots Festival was celebrated by Babs Swaminarayan Temple in Far West, and also by the Urge Shamas in Liverpool over the last weekend. Now, I like to say some of these things. I think it has some values. The Chariots Festival, the specialty of the Chariots Festival is that here the god, instead of residing in the temple, it comes out to visit the people in the streets, whatever walks of life they might be. And that's really is a reflection of the Indian subcontinental values of equality, equity, and it's a God saying that I am coming to you to visit you, come and see me and tell you your prayer. The other meaning of the Chariot Festival is that it really reflects our own lives. The chariot has 5 horses, a chariot and a driver. The driver of the chariot is really our consciousness, that's how it is seen. And the chariot itself is our human body. And the 5 horses that drives the chariot decides where you get to, where you reach at the end of the journey are desire, anger, greed, delusion, and attachment. These are the 5 horses of our body or of lives that takes us to our destination. So I truly appreciate that these people, there are thousands of people in both of the celebrations, and they put a lot of efforts to organize these things, the celebrations, and to promote those values, which definitely promotes the multiculturalism of Australian society. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other acknowledgements, councillors? Councillor Nasran.
The first being the transit-oriented development process for Homebush.
Yes.
I'd like to acknowledge and draw attention to the Homebush Precinct Plan currently being undertaken, and that there is a webinar tomorrow for the community on 24 July 2024 and in-community session on 27 July 2024. For what is effectively a master plan for the Homebush and North Stratford areas north of the rail corridor. The area that has been subject to extensive development over the past decade. Most of that development occurred as ad hoc proposals to council to rezone land following broadly a plan forced onto the area by the previous Liberal state government. The development has left an ugly mismatched set of buildings along Parramatta Road. The preliminary urban design that's been released shows how residents will access the new metro station at North Strathfield. It shows the built form at a pedestrian level. It provides for an additional 2,000 jobs in our area and the preservation of areas that support those residential uses. I believe there's work to be done on this plan. I do not believe that adequately plans for the north-south pedestrian movements that will naturally occur between Strathfield Station and the new metro station at North Strathfield. I believe that corridor will become a new hub for this entire city, considering the number of people that will alight at both stations and cross between them. On my motion, this council resolved unanimously in June 22 to take a strategic approach to a large part of the same area. That area was subsequently expanded on based on expert planning advice. The process being undertaken is an evolution of that resolution. The process that was proposed then would take away the power of councillors to consider individual planning proposals. Rather, it hands power to the community guided by expert architects, planners and engineers. It does away with any assertion that council or councillors may confer a planning benefit on one development over another for whatever reason. It gives business certainty and adds integrity to the system. Council refused to fund the June 22 strategic exercise. I recall in a subsequent discussion, one councillor exclaiming, "Nobody gives a shit about that area anyway." Well, we do. And lucky for us, the Department of Planning and the federal government do as well and have stepped up to the plate. The current process is in stark contrast to what was done by Stratford Council during the previous term. I refer to the June 2021 report of Council supporting a number of rezonings across the Council area. In it, Council justifies the rezoning of the southern part of our area that part furthest away from transport connections in Strathfield South and Belfield because, and I quote from the document, during the councillor workshops, it was requested that, and then that an area be designated for rezoning. At that time, council also proposed to consider 4 separate proposals to triple permissible heights within the current study area being undertaken. That process had little legitimacy in the eyes of the public. I moved to fix those processes, and I wish to say I faced significant and organised attacks for doing so. I can move to the second acknowledgement.
You've got 40 seconds. Do you need an extension?
It's a new acknowledgement.
A new acknowledgement. Okay, 3 minutes.
Thank you. The acknowledgement is my absence from the previous council meeting. At the last council meeting, I requested a leave of absence for that meeting. It was my intention to attend and set out the campaign of harassment and threats that other councillors here and I have faced, and to name a number of individuals who I believe to be behind that campaign. I'm aware of at least one councillor having contacted a third party to run an anonymous smear campaign, and I would say if such a campaign materialises, I know the 2 individuals to blame. I chose not to do that because you must sometimes trust in processes, as excruciating and lacking as they appear to be. This campaign has been waged by property interests and those acting as unofficial lobbyists for those interests. That campaign is well evidenced. If you're a councillor on this council and you support proper planning processes, you stand between those people and tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars they seek to make at the expense of the public interest. Before choosing to run for council, I was warned by former independent councillor, Ms. Helen McLucas, of the lengths that some will go to seek and maintain undue influence over this particular council. I thought she was exaggerating. She was not. Almost all of my councillor colleagues here have come forward at various points to alert me to threats that have been made against me. And in some cases, they are the principal reason why I became aware of these threats. I take this opportunity to thank you all and to express my utmost gratitude for coming forward and providing that evidence.
Thank you, councillor. Any other acknowledgements, councillors? No? Okay, so we go to confirmation of last meeting's minutes. I need a mover, Sandy, councillor Reddy, and a seconder, councillor Hall. Councillors, I put this to a vote, show of hands. I declare this motion carried. There are no mere minutes. So items by exception. For the minute. Yeah, we'll do it now. Thank you. Okay, so we go to page 35, 10.1, management of foliage overhanging solar panels. Councillor Hall. Keep that in the exception. 10.2, review of the return and earn in Strathfield Town Centre. Councillor Blackmore. Exception. No exception.
Oh, I have an amendment.
Sorry?
I have an amendment, so...
For that one? Okay, so I'll pull that. Report on council resolutions that are considered in development applications, recommendations in the planning process. 10.3. Exception. Are we...
I do apologise, I meant 10.3 when you said 10.2.
Keep up with this, councillor. So we are putting into 10.2 will stay in items of exception and we'll pull out 10.3. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. A report on the feasibility of establishing a dog park near Long Street. Councillor Chai. We will put that by exception. No. Take it out? Take it out. Yeah, that one out. 10.4 is out. GMU1, draft plan of management for Hudson Park. GMU2, amended community facilities plan of management. GMU3, delivery program with 6-month progress report. CCS1, investment report. CCS2, tenders advertised and awarded. CCS3, current... CCS3. Yep. CCS 4 2024 Local Government New South Wales Annual Conference. CCS 5 Community Safety Strategy. CCS 6 FY 2023 to 2024 Capital Budget Carryovers. CCS 7 Councillor Workshop, 9th of July 24. CCS 8 Destroy through Appropriate and Considered Regulation the Pokies. CCS 9 a Draft Reconciliation Action Plan. CCS 10 Local Government Caretaker Period and Election Provisions. PE 1 Housing Policy for Seniors in Resolution. PE 2 Homebush West Strathfield South Centres Proposed Review of Centres. EO 1 Battle of Kapyong Memorial. Work that out. EO 2 Capital Works Program Progress Update. And 12.1 Report from Traffic Committee meeting 16th of July 2024. So I need a mover for those. Councillor Blackmore moved it. Councillor Chai seconded it. Thank you very much. All in favour? I declare that motion carried. Right, so let's get to the motions that we are discussing. So that's 10.3, page 37. Oh, sorry, there's something else. There's no public speakers. There's no public forum. Where's that? Oh, we don't have any speakers for the public forum. Yep. Thank you. So now we go to notices of motion. So, the one we pulled out was 10.3, page 37. I need a mover and a seconder for this motion. Mover, Councillor Schrangen, seconder, Councillor Blackmore. And you pulled it out, Councillor?
Mayor, I have an amendment.
All right.
With council staff, I'll read it. To insert as the new 2D.
The D?
Yes, so it'll be a new D. Provide a chronology of the progression of the following significant residential high-rise development applications, including 10 to 16 Loftus Crescent, 2 Subway Lane, Knight Street, Parramatta Road, Homebush.
Is the writing all right? Just to slow down.
They have a copy, I believe. So that would be Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, 125 Parramatta Road and 52 to 54 Powell Street, Homebush. Roman numeral 3, 1 Loftus Crescent, Homebush. Roman numeral 4, 17 to 20 Loftus Crescent, Homebush. Roman numeral 5, 2 and 5 Strathfield Square, 5 Churchill Avenue, 4 to 10 and 12 to 18 Albert Road, Strathfield. And Roman numeral 6, 7 to 33 Water Street, Strathfield South. If I can speak to the amendment.
Yes, you can.
In essence, I formulated that list. I believe the purpose of the motion is to provide some update to incoming councillors about the activities of this current council in respect to some development matters. The list I've provided is based on what I understand to be those planning proposals that were current or under consideration at the time of January 2022. Most of the councillors here probably don't know them by their street addresses, but just to clarify, 7 to 33 Water Street, Strathfield South was the planning proposal relating to the industrial land in Strathfield South. That's where council, I believe 4 councillors supported a proposal, and that became a planning or part of an amended LEP to turn a large section of the industrial land in Strathfield South over to high density residential development. The 2 and 5 Strathfield Square proposal is what people understand to be the Lendlease proposal. So that was a proposal that was advanced by Lendlease and incorporated some of council's land. The other 4 proposals are
It was knocked back though.
it was knocked back, but this is what was present at the start of the council term. The other 4 proposals were DAs that were current under consideration at the time. I believe that this motion mentions January 2022. And they essentially became, and I think this is particularly relevant to this motion because these are the developments that once the strategic planning exercise started in June 22, or it was indicated, the planning panel began rejecting these DAs or some of these DAs on the basis that strategic planning exercise was being undertaken. And then consequent to that, after the plan proposal had provided that advice, the council then determined to defund the strategic planning exercise, leaving those proposals in somewhat of a limbo. So that process is particularly important in my mind, since we're talking about what ought to be brought to the attention of the incoming council. And I've simply highlighted these based on essentially the list of proposals or significant existing planning proposals at January 22, less anything that wasn't essentially significant high-rise development.
Thank you, councillor. We need to speak.
Yeah. Basically, the intention of the motion is about development applications. It's not about planning proposals. And it's basically to give an idea of, in history of council, there are motions that come to council that say we should take a particular stance on this matter. So my intention with this motion, and I believe that's how it is worded, is to basically look at that and to say whether do those resolutions actually get taken into account when a development application comes forward to our planning staff. That's the intention. It's not. It's not. I think that's a completely different motion.
So you're saying that the additions and the amendments are changing the motion?
I think I don't know through the chair whether the director. I think that changes the intent of the actual motion.
I'm trying to work out what the motion means. And I'm not a planner.
Yeah.
But
basically, for example, I'm saying for example, Stratford Council's taken a stance to say that we don't want, LED advertising for gambling or alcohol or something like that on a property. Do those motions that have been put up through council over time, is there a process where that gets taken into consideration or not? And what did the plan, are they looking at just our DCP and LEP, or do they actually take into account some of these motions that council has actually put up over the years?
right.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I might have to just seek reference to the code of meeting practice. I think the first point here is Councillor Blackmore probably needs to decide whether he's accepting that amendment onto the NOM. In just looking at it at the moment, it probably does appear to be a different motion to what's been submitted on the paper, because it is a bit more specific about planning proposals. But I probably would prefer for us to just check the rules within the code of meeting practice, and maybe we could have 5 minutes to do that.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. We'll put the council in.
Adjourn.
Yeah, we'll adjourn for 5 minutes.
Motion?
Of the term.
We're on now, thank you. So I declare the meeting back open. Ms. Watts, can you give us an indication of how we're going to deal with this motion?
Yes, thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for the time to go away and have a look at that for you. Looking at the Code of Meeting Practice, and in particular, clause 10.10, the amendment to the motion must relate to the matter being dealt with in the original motion, but it should also be in the spirit of that original motion. On our reflection, and this is just our view in terms of understanding what's being sought from both different motions, the original question was around, or being sought was asking for the council decisions on DAs based on council policy and having an assessment of how that's been made over a period of time by council officers. And then the D, or addition of D, is actually asking for a chronology on how council has made decisions on planning proposals. So that's the view we've taken away, and based on that I wouldn't recommend putting them up together as you
As
say.
the same motion. Okay, Councillor Blackmore.
Well, that's what I think that's what we're discussing. Like, my understanding is, of a development application is an actual, like, a lodgement of a development application. I think the other parts of it are actually about lodgement of a planning proposal. So I think it is two different things. The only thing I would say, probably point 2A, that I'll probably add the word application after development there as well. Because specifically, the intent of this motion was specifically talking about, for example, if council said that we don't want advertising for, example, there's a resolution standing for council, we don't want advertising of alcohol in Stratford Council, or we don't, want a certain thing next to a park or whatever it is, does this actually get taken into any consideration, or is there a register of some type that has these ongoing motions that don't end? It's a stance that a particular council at a particular time has taken, and are they actually taken into account when development's assessed or not? And is what the councillors are putting up here actually taken into account, or is it just our DCP and LEP is basically what I would like to know.
Right, so if I can get this right, Councillor Blackmore, you are wanting a report on the development applications that have happened since 2023, 2022, and any...
This term?
Just at this term.
Yeah.
And if any of the resolutions that councillors have put up have been taken into consideration for passing the DA.
Yes.
Right.
So development application, not a rezoning planning proposal.
It's a development application. So that's
I
the...
want to be clear, I think that's where
Okay,
there's
all right.
confusion.
So that's where the confusion was. So do you accept the addition of the amendment?
I can't accept it because I do think it is
Separate.
relating to planning proposals. It's a different matter. I'm happy if that motion was there, I'll be happy to support that motion, or if it was a matter arising or something like that. But I think it actually changes the whole, in my opinion, it changes the intent of the motion.
Okay. All right, so you don't have the additional D on the, thank you.
So, Madam Mayor, I move the amendment.
Yes, you did.
Yes. It must be voted on.
Oh, yes, it needs to be voted on. Sorry, councillor. So it doesn't, but we will move, I will call a vote on that now to see whether the amendment's going to be accepted or not.
I'll be leaving the room. And I'll have to fill in, I need
A disclosure.
another form, I don't know if you want a spare one. Councillor Hall?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I don't think the director's read out the full part of the clause, but I think it's quite clear that the amendment cannot be accepted.
That's what I thought too.
So you can't move
That's your call, Madam Mayor.
an amendment to a motion that is not in the spirit or in line with the original motion. And it's very clear in the Code of Meeting Practice that you must rule that out of order.
You can talk on the motion.
No,
Is that your ruling?
sorry, are you, is that your,
Yes, that was my understanding.
Is that your ruling?
That's my ruling.
I'd like to move a motion of dissent in your ruling as the chairperson. And I can explain the basis for that if you'd like.
Okay.
All right.
I'll hear it.
In effect, for those that are listening at home, which I don't think they are, there's a motion that's been put, which is 10.3, and there is an amendment that's been put to it, and you've ruled that this does not sufficiently connect to what is contained in 10.3.
Correct.
Now, I just note that council is established as a body politic under the Local Government Act. So what that means is that it is actually meant to be animated like a government, right? Even though it's limited to the Local Government Act and the powers conferred within it. What's put as a matter of policy is not what's the intention of the drafter in their mind, but rather what they've committed to paper. This motion is entitled Report on Council Resolutions that are considered in development application recommendations in the planning process. I may be incorrect about this, but a development application under the EPNA Act includes planning proposals as well as development applications, right? That distinction that we make between what we call the planning proposal as an amendment to the LEP is not one that's contained in the Act. So a plain reading of this document, and that is what will be read when it is brought to council in December, once all the intentions in people's minds have left the room, is that this is about council resolutions that are considered in development applications, recommendations in the planning process. And even without that definitional challenge, the planning process encompasses both planning proposals and DAs. Sweeping that to one side, right, what I've set out here are not all planning proposals. There are DAs here. What's contained in, I believe, the Stratford Square proposal is a DA. So it's not so great a distinction, but put that to one side, right? Even if it was a planning proposal, these are essentially things that are considered in the planning process. So this amendment is squarely within what's drafted here, and if you read what's drafted here in the rationale, right, what has been committed to paper, seeks to provide information and guidance to the new councillors as to how or if Stratford Council Planning Department actually takes into consideration Stratford Council's motions when assessing development, not development applications, development within the LGA, right? Even when you go further, right, the actual language of what's being put forward here, it's limited to all council residents concerning development. All development applications is moved distinctly into B, right? So there's some sort of distinction between what is meant to be a development and what is a development application. I think what I've proposed falls squarely within the remit of what's been put in paper. Now, I apologise if Councillor Blackmore envisaged something different, but it is what's here. I appreciate sometimes, you know, these...
You've got your expertise, I've got mine.
No, but everything aside, you know, that's what's on paper. That's what's gone into the council booklet. This falls squarely within what's on the paper.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Councillor Hall.
I have a question.
Yes.
My learned friend makes a very good submission, I must admit. So my question is to the General Manager, to the Chair. In making your decision in the back room that was locked, is there, was the actual wording taken into consideration or the intent? Because my learned friend does make a good submission.
Through you, Madam Mayor, so references.
Sorry, I'll withdraw the motion. Thank you. And we can get a definition on the right thing, and I'll get some advice on how to correctly word it.
I apologise, ma'am. The motion's been moved. The motion's been
Your
moved
amendment.
and seconded, and the amendment's been moved.
I seconded it.
You second the amendment?
No, I seconded the motion.
So I don't think it's too late to withdraw it. It's on.
Is it too late to withdraw? I don't think so.
Sorry, it's in. I'm happy to move this and seek a seconder in the room.
Do you want to do a foreshadow?
So, no,
think.
No,
He's saying that we don't have to vote on the motion of dissent.
I think you need to vote on the motion of dissent first.
The motion of dissent, yes, we need to vote on that.
You all need to deal with
Answer my question.
We don't have a definition.
Mr Memo, can you answer Councillor Hall's question, please?
Through you, Madam Mayor, so reference was made to the code of meeting practice and our understanding of the intent of the motion.
Not what's in writing. Okay. So he does make a good.
Yeah. So where are we up to now? So do I move the motion of dissent?
You need to move the motion of dissent. I might get.
We need a seconder for that, do we?
Need a seconder.
no seconder required.
No seconder for a dissent, no. So all in favour of the motion of dissent? That's Councillor Maheswaran, Councillor Chai, Councillor Hall, Councillor Dada, Councillor Pensabeni, Councillor Reddy. Against is Councillor Blackmore. I declare that motion carried. Now we go back to the motion. Do we? And we need to vote on the motion.
If you've changed your mind.
I think he's saying with the amendment.
With the amendment.
I believe the amendment was not accepted by the mover, and now we deal with, as I understand it, the whether it will now be amended.
Okay,
Shadow.
Yeah, it's for
so we
sure.
have a vote on the amendment?
The whole thing, that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm a bit confused.
So through you, Madam Mayor, Councillor Maheswaran moved Councillor Blackmore's notice of motion and Councillor Blackmore seconded it.
Yeah,
So that is the motion on the floor.
right.
Councillor Blackmore had indicated that he was withdrawing his support for that motion, so you would need another seconder for that motion for it to stay on the floor.
Right.
Is
So I,
that correct, councillors?
I believe so.
yeah, so I need another seconder for that.
Well, as Councillor Blackmore withdrawn, I think you need to check that first.
Councillor Blackmore, have you withdrawn your seconder?
Yes.
Thank you. I need now a seconder for the amended motion on the floor.
So he's declaring conflicts of interest now.
Yeah. And you're declaring conflict of interest?
Just wait.
So maybe dealing with that.
Leaves.
You have to read it out.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah.
So what's happening, I just didn't understand.
No, it's okay. Councillor Blackmore has withdrawn as a
I
seconder.
understand, but
We're just waiting for him to read out his conflict of interest.
conflict, that's what I was.
And then we're going to vote on the motion with the amendment.
You need another seconder.
Yeah, I need another seconder before I do that. Very confusing, guys.
Great. Excellent training.
There's something in this room that doing
Sort of, you know, when you wash your hair, some, no, I didn't. I left it curling.
Oh, look at that, 7:20. add another one? Is that it?
That's me for the day. Oh, no, I did, sorry. Gapion.
That's gonna be easy.
One gap year.
No gap year one.
That's gonna be quick.
Thank you, councillor.
Okay, conflicts of interest, 10.3, non-significant, non-significant. I was approached by the proponent mentioning Councillor Morris Ryan's motion of Knight Street and Loftus Crescent, Homebush as listed. I have no significant relation with this proponent. I can remain in the chamber, but I will be leaving. I have a pecuniary interest, item 10.3. I have sold a property of a person who owns property in the Stratford Town Centre, and there's property addresses mentioned near their properties. So pecuniary interest, I will be leaving the chamber on that one as well. And I can give you the disclosures, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so I need a seconder for the amended motion. Councillor Data. All in favour?
I'll speak to it finally.
No, you've had twice to speak to it, Councillor Maheswaran. We're going.
The amended motion being put.
It has been put. The amended motion has been put. All in favour? I declare that motion carried. Thank you very much. I love you, but you know what?
Okay, now we go fast.
It's good to have the power, isn't it?
Dog park,
Okay, so now we go to the dog park, 10.4.
you move it, I'll second
We've
it.
got to wait for Councillor Blackmore to come in.
What's wrong with doctor?
We don't have to wait for him to come in.
We do.
Move it.
It's a courtesy, if nothing else.
Courtesy, but it doesn't. I mean, we like him.
It's over the minute.
It's gone. It's not.
Maybe the washroom.
Maybe in the washroom.
Where are you standing, Councillor Chai?
No, I'm moving my,
Oh, you are moving, you are not, you haven't been asked to move it yet.
no.
Okay, so we're talking now. I need a mover. Ben, Councillor Chai, and a seconder.
Me.
Councillor Reddy. Thank you, Mr. Chai. Councillor Chai. Yep, commence.
Yes, I'd like to move, to have a dog park, report.
Report.
Yeah, for the long, near the Long Street. Because we can see there are a couple of the green landing there, and the local resident, they're requesting for a dog parking there. So I'd like, to find the feasibility of the chance to have the dog parking there.
Wonderful. Yep.
Thank you.
Who pulled the dog? I think it was Councillor Blackmore.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's not here.
Well,
Okay, so I'm going to move that motion. All in favour? I declare that motion carried.
CCS 3.
Then,
CCS 3.
Page 422, EO1, Battle of Gapion Memorial.
But CCS 3 has been, CCS 3.
Oh, yes, sorry,
350.
Councillor Data. C is council resolutions. I need a mover for that. Councillor Data?
Yes.
Seconder, Councillor Ward.
Yeah, just a small thing, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I went through the resolution again, and I remember mentioning a question that one of the motions that was moved by me some time ago was not in the thing, and the general manager did explain that it will be happen, but there was an expectation that on the resolutions, outstanding resolutions should be listed here. So I think any outstanding resolution, whether that happens tomorrow or day after tomorrow, it should be recorded here that it is pending and the funding, we are waiting for some funding. When the funding happens, whatever the state is, otherwise it's forgotten. Also, I remember that there was another motion, I think it was moved successfully through this council in June, I think, which was regarding the council coming up with a strategy on how the tree management policy could be reviewed. so that some of the felt needs of the community could be addressed better. And I do not see that included either. So I think the intent of this record was, since it was it was conceived that all the motions that are outstanding should be recorded so that we know what the status is. And this is the two I remember, and there could be others, I do not know. So those all should be recorded, and I have to say that I thought it would be recorded, and I know that GM did give an explanation, so I just thought it could be a mistake that somebody forgot it. But my view is that all outstanding motions moved through the council should be listed in this, so that
Until they're dealt with. Until they're dealt with.
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Councillor Data. Mr. Memo.
Through you, Madam Mayor, so the two that Councillor Data is talking about, one was to do with the bollard lighting at Airy Park. That has been acquitted because it has been included in the concept plans for the Western West project that is currently now out on consultation. So that's why it's been acquitted and it doesn't stay on the outstanding resolutions list. The second one you talked about was the tree pruning. That was actually dealt with on the night that you moved that motion because there was an officer's report also on that same paper that included those, what you were asking for, and that's been dealt with as part of that report. If you look through the paper, there is still outstanding resolutions relating to the officer's report, which picked up a whole lot more actions that still need to be addressed as part of the tree management strategy.
Madam Mayor, if I can say that I know that in that paper, I know that one of the council officers did call me and said that it is dealt, and I disagreed that on the contrary. I said that the intent of whatever was included and the motion that was moved were totally different. And I was still expecting a report that deals with the intent of the motion. That still deals
Councillor
with
Maheswaran.
the motion. Sorry. So I am expecting a report that deals with the other parts of the motion, of the intent of the motion, and I haven't seen it. So I still was expecting that the motion, there would be a paper that is specific to that paper that addresses the motion specifically, and I still expect that to happen. And the subject that were covered, it was a very broad, it was not specific to a specific issue that was mentioned. So I still expect that to be coming through the council, and that's the reason it is not. If my understanding is correct, then I would like to see the communication saying how those specific matters that are raised through the motion and successfully moved have been addressed. To my knowledge, it hasn't been.
So Mr. Memo's explanation didn't clear that up. So what I suggest you do, Councillor Data, is to email Mr. Memo with all the proposed resolutions that you don't think that are on there, and then he can discuss them with you. Because I thought the explanation that Mr. Memo gave was quite sufficient in regard to the ones that you were talking about.
I'm not sure if you remember, Madam Mayor. I do not expect you to remember all that, but I remember I had a discussion with one of the officers, and she did mention before the meeting that we are doing on the paper, and I said, yeah, I have read all those papers, and the papers are very broad, doing a lot of things, but it doesn't address the specific issue that was raised. It was very clear, and that's why in fact, I was requested to withdraw the motion.
Okay.
That is covered, and I didn't withdraw, and there was a reason for it, and the motion was passed. So it doesn't wash out. Because I still expect the paper coming through, and the officer I spoke with, I'm sure she would remember that.
All right, well, we'll leave it there. So I'm going to put the motion forward. All in favour?
Oh, no, I wanted to speak.
Oh, sorry. You wanted to speak?
Yeah, may I?
Sure, Councillor Hall.
Sorry, I do. I just want to go to page 323 to 152/24, lighting proposal for Fitzgerald Reserve.
323.
Yeah, page 323. I've got page 2 from that.
It's the local government's 323.
Yeah?
What
CCS 3, right? CCS 25 June.
25 June. Yes?
Resolution 152/24.
2/24. 151. No?
152. Is there a
I haven't
151?
got it.
Which page?
Page 320.
It's 321.
Oh, I have a different paper
Oh, there it is, 28th of May.
20th of May, I got 25 June. I got 25 June.
105/24.
No, 152/24. You guys have a completely different paper to me.
We have. I have.
Oh, no, it's at the top.
But 323 on my papers is the resolution for the annual conference.
This is what Nell I see.
Okay,
Oh.
25 June.
152/24, lighting proposal for Fitzgerald Reserve. So it says comment, stage 1 lighting to be installed 24/25, stage 2 funding to be investigated. So what my question through the chair is, so that my motion of lighting proposal for Fitzgerald Crescent, and that was the walkway between one side of the bridge to the other. Is that stage 1 or stage 2?
Thank you.
That's my question.
Through the chair, that's stage 1, so we're intending to light the section near the bridge.
That's stage 1.
Yes.
And my second question is, do you have an ETA?
No, not yet, but I'm happy to take that on notice and get back to you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that motion has to be put. All in favour? I declare that motion carried. It's all right. So we're going now to the EO1, page 422.
And for me,
So I need a mover.
page,
Councillor Mahasran, second for Councillor Reddy. Yes, Councillor?
I'd like to move an amendment to the motion. Terms are as follows, that part 1 be amended to say that council approve the installation of a memorial in the Davey Square Reserve to acknowledge the Ballot Capital, and to amend part 3 to read, council endorses a design similar to the design elements of the vertical design contained in the report, but being no higher than the height of the existing memorial wall. So I'll provide a copy of those amendments.
Davey Square, is that where all the Anzac plaques are? Yeah, look, we'll have to take that on notice because we have to make sure that that's not going to be in any way against the RSL protocol. So unless we can move it there, we'll have to find out whether we can move it there or not. Is that correct, Mr. Mehmet?
I think so.
Yeah, because that's the RSL.
so you might want to just change the motion a little bit just to say that.
Yeah, I know where it is. So it's going to be a bit of a problem. So is there a reason why it's not in Hudson Park near the? What was the reason for the change?
Could I'd be very content to move further amendment that would essentially make this a report returnable to the next council workshop.
Yeah.
And that would be essentially, instead of council approve
No,
or
it's not going to get to the next council workshop. Because we are running out of time, councillors.
Well, I suppose that rather than approve, unless the other councillors would like to.
You guys can decide next term.
So instead of council approve, it would be council report on the installation of the memorial, but it would be in Davey Square Reserve.
The recommendation from the RSL?
Well, I suppose that'd be contained within a report.
Subject to the, so it can be subject to the approval or endorsement by.
The RSL.
It'll be in their report.
But when we are going to ask for the report now? In October?
we leave it, and it'll come back in the current resolutions at some point, I'm sure.
It's always good to put a timing on it, councillor.
Leave it open.
Yeah, and I will explain the purpose of the.
All right, so the council report on the installation of a memorial in Davies Square to acknowledge the Battle of Gapillon. The council endorsed the wording for the memorial as outlined in the report. Council endorses a design similar to the design elements of the vertical design contained in the report, but not being higher than the height of the existing memorial wall. Fine, but again, that'll be in the report.
Yes. If I can explain the reason for the amendment.
Yes.
Life in council is all about compromises. There are those on council that want a large rock donated from Korea. There are those that don't want a new memorial at all. There are those, such as myself, that would be reasonably happy with the vertical design as is. There are those that feel that placing it in the Century Garden would be too away from the existing memorials, and this appears to be the compromise position that leaves everyone feeling reasonably happy but not ecstatic. So.
Does everyone understand the importance of this memorial?
Can we just vote, please?
I mean, do you understand I thought this was going to be over in Ismay Reserve anyway. I didn't know when it got back to Hudson Park. Have I missed something?
Being in the memorial,
We were going to put this in Ismay Reserve.
being in the memorial is probably not a bad idea. It is a memorial, and we're going to put in the memorial in Davies Square. Sounds logical to me.
Maybe please put the motion.
I will put the
This
motion.
one doesn't come under Anzacs.
It won't.
Boulevard 1 and
It
Boulevard 2.
won't. It won't. Not Anzacs. This is the Korean War. You're getting all your wars mixed up. Okay, I'll put the motion to you. All in favour?
Excuse me, which one we're going to vote?
The
Amendment.
So where is it again? Is that all confusing? Can we just, so where is it in?
Hudson Park. This is the report.
It's a report. It's just a report.
You vote, just call on what they're voting.
See,
We're voting.
page 410.
I'll tell you what you're voting for.
What is one? Can we pull
The
out?
council report on an installation of a memorial in Davies Square Reserve to acknowledge the Battle of Gapillon. The council,
Yeah, sure, yep, that's okay. Let's go on.
that's what we're voting on.
Just a report.
Okay, all in favour?
Just like the dog park. It's just a report.
I can't vote for it, sorry.
It's a report.
Okay, all in favour, Councillor Maheswaran, Councillor Chai, Councillor Hall, Councillor Dada and Councillor Reddy. Against, Councillor Pensabeni. I declare that motion carried. All right, now let me get my script, if I can find it amongst all this paper.
Are we done?
Oh, we're going to have fun.
Good one, the last one.
Happy birthday, guys. Let's go on.
Do you have any questions without notice? Oh, with notice? No? Have we got any
8 minutes.
matters of urgency? No confidential matters and nothing. Conclusion of meeting, there's nothing further to do. Council meeting concludes at 7:38. Thank you, everyone.